Hi everyone, welcome in to Talking Town. Joining me is Steve Parry. Steve, I must have Charlton fans down my road because there's fireworks galore going on outside. All I can say is, after that performance, it's just season is going up in flames. Who could have envisaged us losing 3-0 tonight to Charlton?
Well, I didn't, but at the end of the day, it's a story as old as time. You know, how many times are we going to give away stupid goals?
Yeah.
Not as if they're cutting us open. We're just making stupid mistakes. Every single one of them goals, you can chalk it down to mistakes. The first one was just a header into the middle of nowhere. If you've no teammates around you, head it out of play, boot it, something. Don't just head it into like 20 yards of space where none of our players are. The second one was like a good save from the keeper. Nobody followed up. Everybody just suddenly started standing still and sticking their arms up, thinking everyone's offside. And as I was always taught when playing football, you don't wait for the whistle. You go on and carry on until you hear the whistle.
Yeah.
And it was just 10 minutes of catastrophe. And as soon as they scored that one goal, the game was pretty much toast. We had to score first because I know they can defend. If we don't know they can defend, because at the end of the day, they played Leicester and Leicester scraped a draw. So we all know they can defend. You know, once they've got a goal in front, they're a very hard team to beat. And at the end of the day, the first half, we were so wasteful, it was unreal.
Yeah.
You know, I can't believe how many good chances we had. You know, commentators...
69% possession as well. 69% possession we had, Steve.
Commentators... Oh, that was a good chance. That was a good... No, it wasn't. You know, the Azon one, he tried. He was never scoring that. You know, the only decent chance I thought was probably Nunez's free kick. That was probably the best chance we had.
Good effort, that. You had the Akpom hit the bar, didn't he? On that breakaway.
But I don't think he was ever set for that anyway. You know.
No.
And, you know.
Unlucky with the third goal, though, weren't we? That ball, if you've been in the stadium tonight, unlike me and Steve, the ball was over the line, wasn't it? Should have been a goal kick.
The third one's out of play. And for me, not being biased, I've not had a good look at it, but our goal looked onside. You know, I've not had the shot all the way down the line.
McAteer one, yeah. It was touch and go, I think. I mean, the lino was there, wasn't he? But we, like you say, we were too wasteful. The game, like Friday night, we saw the game turn on its head, didn't we, in 2 or 3 minutes? Hurst at Borough misses the pen, then we score the own goal. And then suddenly tonight, after a pretty good first half, like you say, we had chances there. Within 3 minutes, 52nd and 55th minutes, we're 2 down. I think the problem with the Carey goal, Sonny Carey goal, was we allowed him to run, didn't we, from the midfield, like you said, to pick up the ball, loose ball, runs from the midfield. O'Shea's just there jockeying, moves into the left-hand side and scores.
O'Shea had it under control, and he just had a brain fart and headed it into the middle of the field where there was nobody there. And I'm thinking, like, well, if you're going to head it into space where they can run on, I'm questioning where the hell is the central midfielders gone? Because we had none. You know what I mean? And like, our central midfielders should have been in there for him to head the ball to them. And there was nobody there. You know, and we can't argue the fact that we were attacking them, so the midfielders have scattered. They were attacking us, so they should have been coming back into position. So I don't understand where the central midfielders were. You know, they must have just been on a walkabout. But
the best one was sitting in the stands, wasn't he? Matasiwa. We obviously missed him tonight because he was suspended.
I do think we did, actually. You know, I don't think he had a good game against Borough. Yeah, I'll be perfectly honest.
He wasn't great. No, he's been good at Portman Road, though. He has been very good at Portman Road, I think.
Well, I'll just say, we did miss that steal in midfield. You know, and like I said against Borough, I don't think Karius played very well either. Yeah, I think against Borough we needed a passer. I think Nunez would have been better against Borough than Karius. But tonight Karius played well because he had space to run into. When you've got teams who are going to defend deep, it allows someone to run at them. You know, when you've got teams who are going to press you, you ain't got time to run at them. You've got to pass the ball. And that's where I think the teams that are going to press us, we're better passing against. And the teams who are going to defend deep, like Charlton, we can run at them. And Karius got quite a few runs into that. And I think he played better.
What did you think of the side? I mean, 7 changes seemed a lot, didn't it? I mean, was that a bit of a dice roll, do you think? Because you've got the team that's beating Norwich, that plays at Middlesbrough, and then suddenly 7 changes. Everyone's saying in the comments too many. Really, G? Goal machine at Portman Road, Steve, sitting on the bench.
I think it's a 3-day week thing. You know, at the end of the day, he just wanted to rest some legs for Saturday. You know, I don't think because we lost on Friday. Yeah, people look at it and go, well, if we'd have won Friday, I don't think it would have mattered. It's because we didn't win Friday or didn't get anything Friday. It matters more that we changed 7 players. You know, the last time we did it and got a point at Bristol City, it didn't really matter that much because we had 2 wins to bookend it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This time it probably matters more and people are probably questioning it more, but that's what he wants. That's what he does. You know, I said we should only make 2 changes. I wasn't convinced we were going to make 2 changes. And then his press conference said it's going to be a different team. So right from that, I knew there was going to be plenty of changes, you know, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, the team didn't play bad. The players didn't play bad. We just made mistakes. And if I can see those mistakes, I'm pretty sure McKenna can see their mistakes. And I want them ironed out because these are not bad defenders. They just make stupid errors.
Jason Wood here has put sack McKenna and bring back Lambert. We've got rid of Paul Lambert. And now we've got Martin Lambert. Yeah, are you with us now, Gov? Are you with us?
Sadly so.
Yeah. So
very sadly.
Thoughts?
Frankly, I don't know what to make of what I've just seen. Charlton, first of all, really good team.
A lot of energy. Had a lot of energy.
A lot of energy.
More energy.
But I think the important thing there is team, Matt. 7 changes tonight. We've got individuals that are great players. Collectively as a team, Charlton were the better side. And they made 3 changes. I said to you before the game, 7 changes was mind-blowing to me.
You were surprised.
To put it mildly.
A couple of changes would have been factored in, but it wasn't to be, was it? Wholesale changes.
So 7 changes, I think, it's cup game territory. And this football club has notoriously been really poor in cup games, most notably because you say you make too many changes. And I thought there tonight, as I say, individually got really good players, but are they learning partnerships? Like McAteer, for example. I think that's probably the first time, maybe the second time at a push. He's played with Ashley Young at right back. Ashley Young, vice versa, in terms of playing with McAteer ahead of him. You've got Nunez and Cayuse starting for the first time. I think starting for the first time. I'm right in saying that, in midfield together. Greaves coming back into the side, so he's partnered O'Shea already. But it's just, you know, individually really good players. But do they complement each other well? Do they know each other's game well enough so far? Probably not. To make 7 changes. I don't know what you boys thought of that first and foremost.
Well, we were saying, weren't we, Steve, that it was surprising that Philogene, being the goal machine at Portman Road, 5 goals, 3 games, whatever it was, sat on the bench to begin with. What did you think, Steve?
I agree. You know, like I said, I said there'd be about 2 changes. I was looking at 1 in midfield and 1 at centre back. That was the other ones I was thinking of that we're going to start. But obviously, when McKenna came out in his press conference, said it'd be a different team. Then I knew then it was going to be at least.
Yeah, but 7 changes.
I think
there's changes. Then there's changes, and the substitutions again.
I'll be fair. It would have been 6, but for Matty Seawood, it had to be 7 because of him.
Oh, that's okay. Sorry, that's better, isn't it?
No.
I know. And don't say 6-7. Please don't say 6-7. I don't want TikTok trends on here.
I'm not turning around and saying, you know, it was the right thing to do because I don't think it worked against Bristol City. But the top and bottom of it is, I think there's a difference between now and Bristol City is because we won the time before Bristol City.
Yeah.
Repeat again, Friday, if we'd have beat Borough, I don't think that changes would have mattered as much. It's the fact we didn't win at Borough and the fact he made the changes.
Yeah, but Steve, making 7 today means you're going to make 7 on Saturday. And then at what point does it slow down? At what point does it stop? Like,
no, I'm not arguing it's a good thing. Yeah, I'm just saying he's done it before. This should not come as a shock that he's going to do it again.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. What does he do Saturday, Steve? Does he make 7 changes again and bring back everyone who played in the Borough game back into the game? You know, Saturday against West Bromwich Albion. I mean, we know Palmer.
He'll make 8.
We're in a position which I think, especially in some positions, we're the same as where we were last year. He doesn't know his best 11. And I think that's I think that. No, I'm sorry. I think there's a centre-back spot that's up for grabs. I think there's a central midfielder spot that's up for grabs. I'm not sure he knows which is his best striker. I'm not sure which he knows is his best number 10. I think there's a lot of positions out there. He's not 100. He's looking at all these players and saying, which one is my best? Yeah, because I think Akpom had a brilliant game tonight. I think that was his best game I've seen him play. He was lively. He was moving.
Yeah, I thought he was all right.
He was putting some, and I think he was unlucky. I even thought Makasir played a better game. That was probably his best game. You know,
was he offside, Gav? Was he offside, Gav? You're pretty much in line with that, weren't you, for his goal?
I think it was like.
Well, put it this way: everybody else got up and celebrated, and I didn't.
Oh, okay. Eagle eye.
Everybody around me, and I just knew that flag, whether he was or he wasn't. I knew that flag was going to go up. It was that sort of night where the glimmer to get you back in. Sorry, Steve. If I'm talking over anybody, I do apologise. As I'm talking, I'm hearing myself in my ear, which is never great. So as I talk, I can't hear a single word neither of you are saying.
The third goal, Martin, was over the line, goal line. Should have been a goal kick for Town. So that probably just sums it up, doesn't it? Makasir goal given offside. Don't get the benefit. Charlton get the benefit down the other end. But we were well beaten, weren't we? I mean, let's be say, Charlton just had too much energy for us. They were too clinical for us. Ipswich done nearly 500 passes tonight, Steve. Once again, whenever we start doing 400 plus passes, you know Town are in trouble because they're overpassing the ball, trying for the perfect goal, the tap in, whatever it might be.
This is what we're talking about every game. This is virtually every game this season. Yeah, regardless of the results, what we're talking about every game this season. You know, and it doesn't matter about the changes, it doesn't matter about anything else. Yeah, we're not clinical enough up front, and we're making stupid mistakes at the back.
Yeah.
And realistically, we've tried everyone. We've tried Greaves, he's made mistakes. We've tried Kipri, he's made mistakes. We've tried O'Shea, he's made mistakes. I think Young made mistakes. Davis made mistakes tonight. You know, they're all making mistakes, you know, and sometimes they're a howler. But you know what I mean?
But the Ashley Young inclusion tonight, I mean, was that really necessary in terms of like when you look at your squad and you look at your balance of your team and you're looking at the changes you make and you think, oh, is 7 too many? Darnell Furlong's done nothing wrong to come out of the side. I'm sure he can play 3 games in a week. 10 years ago, Championship was 46 game seasons and teams didn't rotate near enough half as much as they do now. I sometimes think we've got this embarrassment of riches of individual quality that we've got to try and play them. And we've got 3 games, so 3 opportunities to rotate as much as we like. And my biggest criticism is the result is a dreadful result. The performance is dreadful performance. But even at 2-0, nothing changes. Not the way we approach, not our build-up play, not our tempo. The substitutions, again, you could argue was still something was sat that was decided when you sat down with a cup of coffee before the game and decided, right, who needs a game, who needs to come on? Oh, Ben Johnson at 70 minutes or 75 minutes. You're 3-0 down. Leif Davis is your assist king of 2 years ago. If you're chasing a goal, arguably, do you want Leif Davis on the side? Probably. Or do you want to change formation and maybe bring somebody who's more of an attacking threat, etc.? Like, it just nothing, regardless of what's happening in the game, nothing changes. And Charlton very much, I wouldn't say route one because that's disrespectful. They were clinical with their passing. It was dangerous. It was movement. It was tempo. Even at 2-0, it's slow. It's methodical. It's across the box. Guys, we're 2-0 down. Let's speed it up here.
I know if you just look at the second half, you can have that impression. Yeah, I don't think necessarily the first half. First half, we were a lot more. We controlled that first half. They didn't, bearing the odd scraps they had nothing. Yeah, and we gave them scraps. Yeah, what should have been for us a portent for the second half, but we didn't learn lessons from that. Do I think all these changes are baked in because McKenna's brought these players in and these players expect to play some minutes? Probably. But that's just something we're going to have to accept. We can't sit here and moan about it because otherwise let's just sell these players and get players who are quite happy to sit on the bench, because these players like Jack Clark aren't going to sit here and say, I'll sit on the bench for the rest of my life and I'm not going to play. He's going to want to play. They're going to be trying to force their way into the team.
But he was good tonight, Jack Clark. I thought if anything was going to come through Ipswich Town, it'd be him.
I still think he's better on the bench. Honestly, I'd rather start Philogene and bring Clark on after half an hour.
Oh, absolutely. Look, Jaden Philogene, providing he's not injured, he starts every single game. He's your best player.
For me,
apparently not, because he didn't tonight.
For me,
it's madness. It's mad. I'm at a loss, particularly when you consider where the two sides were in the footballing pyramid this time last year, and that counts for nothing, as we've just witnessed. Got the riches, you spent the money. There's no excuse. There's no hiding place to not get this right. And already you can start to individually maybe think, okay, maybe not top 2, maybe top 6. When top 2 was the bookies' favourite, fan favourites, podcasters' favourites, everyone was saying Ipswich Town promotion. Top 2 at the very least. So now it'd be, maybe we'll make top 6. And, the way playing like that tonight, when the best bit about a Tuesday night at Portman Road is the pantomime at half-time between Blue Action, the North Stand, and Hernandez, forget the scoreline. Something's gone terribly wrong. When that's the highlight, when that's the bit that made you laugh the most, enjoy the most, 3-0 down, it's a terrible performance. I can't defend it. I can't speak too highly of anybody particularly because you've been beaten 3-0. Individually, Akpom, Clark, some good performances. Azon, I thought, was lively up front. But there's no hiding place here, guys. No hiding place. There can't be.
I do think if you just look at the scoreline, you can have that opinion. I don't think if you watch the match, you can have that opinion. Yeah. I think it was a moment of madness. At 0-0, it was a moment of madness, from O'Shea to head the ball into 20 yards of space when there was not one of our players there, and they scored from that. And that goal put the whole team on the back foot because then they scored like 2 minutes later, because everybody thought it was offside, so they're all sticking their hands up in the air. And there was a couple of moments there which put us on the back foot. Up until that point, I didn't even think they were going to score, It was just 2 moments of madness, Before that, and all through the game, as Matt said, we've had 30 chances on goal. So we've created more than enough chances to score a goal, and we didn't get a goal, So I put that game down to not the fact they were better than us, because I don't think they were,
How many on target?
Eh?
How many on target? 3?
No, it was more than that. Hang on, I'll tell you in a minute. Keep going, Steve.
I'm there. I'm not counting the shots on target. Sorry, Steve. Go on.
Yeah, well, I'm not even counting the shots on target. I'm just counting the shots because that's my point.
5 on target. 5.
My point.
So hold up. Sorry, Steve. When you said no, more than that, I'm thinking, cool. I've said 3. He's going to come back with 12, 15, 2 more than 3.
I didn't think.
My mistake.
But the top and bottom of it is that wasn't my point. My point was, we were having 30 chances a goal, and we were too wasteful, We were having those chances, We just weren't making. We didn't do what they did. We weren't clinical with our chances. They were clinical with their chances. If we were more clinical with our chances, this would have been 5-3. If it was a game of both sides were clinical, it would have been 5-3. So yes, you can make that argument just looking at the scoreline that they dominated and they were well deserving of the 3 points. But based on performance and based on how we played the game, another day that we would have scored 3 goals.
Yeah, but if I had £1 million, we'd all be sat in a studio right now, making it look professional. Instead, I'm sat in my car, going to get a fine probably for overstaying me welcoming in this car park. You're sat home, and Matt sat, as always, people always tell me, in front of a bed.
I agree. The point is, we all know football. I saw Liverpool play Burnley, and Burnley had 1 shot. Liverpool had 25, and Burnley won 1-0. This is football. Yeah, we can't sit here and go, these games never happen. These games happen quite a lot, especially in the Championship. You only have to look at some of the teams who's played this season. Like I'll go back with Charlton. When Charlton played Leicester were lucky. Charlton should have battered the hell out of them, but Leicester got a lucky goal right at the death. We needed to finish our chances, and that would have been put to bed. We could have put that game to bed at first half. We didn't. Yeah, that was on us. That's where we have to look at ourselves and say we were poor. Yeah, and then you also look at the fact that we've done something that we've done all season, and we were so lax and so stupid making mistakes at the back. the game itself as a whole, in my opinion, going from back to front throughout the 90 minutes, we were fine. It's just in those individual moments where you're having a shot, or every now and again a defender has a brain fart, we have a problem, and that problem needs to be ironed out. That's just my view of it.
Matt, I've got 2 questions for you, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to have to turn the camera off in a minute because my hand has gone into shake mode trying to hold this camera.
We're going to wind it down in a minute, everybody, because guess what? We're going to be back tomorrow night talking about this all over.
We are. But I've got 2 questions for you.
Yeah, go on.
And this is where I want to hear from you, because you're a man of many years that's seen a lot of football. And you hide how you sometimes really feel about this football club until you thought it through. But I want to hear from you tonight. What do you actually make of this evening? And what do the people at home make of this evening? Because I've dropped my phone, so I can't actually see the chat to know what they're saying.
I don't think I was going to say, I was actually going to come in and say, I don't think I've ever seen so many comments saying, is this the end of McKenna out, as we're seeing in the comments there. I mean, it's just bitterly disappointing, wasn't it? And Sky were actually waxing lyrical, saying how well Ipswich were, and we looked a level above. As Steve rightly says, we just weren't taking the chances. But the capitulation is the worry, because suddenly, the Jack Clark cross, Akpom on the edge of the 6-yard box, glancing header just goes wide. 3 minutes after that, we're 2-0 down. Game is toast at that point. So we just seem to ship goals very, very easy, as Steve has rightly said. Really disappointing result. We probably did we underestimate Charlton as a fan base? Maybe, probably. Did the players underestimate them? Did McKenna underestimate them? The 7 changes. They're sitting in 5th now tonight. We'd love that, wouldn't we?
Well,
Did you agree with 7 changes?
No, I didn't agree with this. Well, I mean, probably not. I certainly didn't agree with Philogene sitting down. Did I agree with Azon coming in to replace Hurst? Did he do all right? Was he any different? We don't really have an outstanding number 9 because we've not replaced Delap, have we? So I think.
Easier question.
I think if you're ever going to change Evan with Hurst and vice versa, you're not getting really. It's not like bringing Delap back into the team, is it? You're not getting.
No.
You're not getting that platform of skill level going up.
So I'll ask you this more in detail tomorrow night. But very quickly, to avoid making 7 changes on Saturday, you've obviously got to make 1, and it's a big blow to lose Palmer, because he is, for me, a better goalkeeper than Christian Warren.
Yeah.
So it's a big blow to lose him. But to avoid making 7, who that came in would you perhaps say to work themselves into a starting player? Because I thought Azam was excellent up front. I thought he was turning, he was holding, he was lively. So I thought Azam was excellent up front. Akpom I thought was okay. I wouldn't say he was brilliant. Hit the bar. I think it's probably still rattling.
Could have had on another day. Could have had 2 goals, but there we go.
Yeah. So you have to argue, out of our 10 play this season so far, probably the best performance, or one of the better performances we've seen from anyone who's played in the 10. It's not a great, range of 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 10 ratings every week that position's been given us. But who else for you? Who really sort of made a claim? Were you looking at another 6 changes on Saturday, do you think? Very quickly. I know it's on the spot.
Yeah, I really don't know. Look, Matchday was going to come back in, right? So who's he going to replace? Nunez or Tuesday? Probably Nunez, I would say.
I'd play Jack Taylor.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can imagine probably Hurst is going to come back in.
I could see an argument for Greaves to keep his spot. I think that left footer out there means much. It's so important, because you could see when he was being pressed, he turned onto his left foot and ran to the touchline. Kipper doesn't do that. He runs in field. So I think that's so important sometimes. And I think we everybody criticises the fact that he makes, he gets sent off. He got sent off or makes a mistake. But that in tight positions, just being able to do that turn and run towards the touchline and get yourself away with the left foot. Yeah. I think that's so important. For
the Gov's departed. His arms got too tight on that camera, Steve. Keep going. We'll wind it down in a sec.
There's an argument that, maybe Kipper comes in for O'Shea. I'm not saying Kipper is a bad player. I'm just saying the left footer is important for us, especially getting the ball down to Davis and getting the ball down to Philogene. I think he can do it easier than what Kipre or Shea can on the left.
I think the reality, Steve, is that whoever he brings in, as I just said, you're not seeing much of a difference between Hurst and Ivan. I don't think you're going to see much difference if you're going to change the defence round, or you take Ashley Young and put him in instead of Furlong.
I don't
think you're going to see much different. I don't think you're going to see much difference. Personnel changes, isn't it?
This goes back to the point I made, and it's like, well, if you take, if you solely look at the scoreline, which of course, as fans, that's all we're looking at. Yeah. If you look at the performance and the way we played and the amount of shots we had, yeah, we had 30 shots. Most teams would have expected to score at least a couple from 30 shots. Yeah. And it's like, we didn't get any. So, I suppose it doesn't matter who plays, so long as we can get those shots. If we can create those shots with whatever team we put out and get those shots on target, we will score more than we can see. We will score more than we did tonight. It's a very difficult one to take because I'm not saying we played well, but it was like we did what we needed to do. We just couldn't do the final bit. It with all the passing and all the flowing and getting down the lines and getting the balls in the box. We did all that. It was just the last bit that we couldn't do. If we could do the last bit, we'd have been fine in this game. And it goes back to my other point is we need to start waking up with defence. Because I'm sorry, you can say that last goal was offside. That last goal was
You're right.
I think it was over. I think it was over the line. But that doesn't matter. We were 2-0 down by then. The second goal, everyone's just stood there with their hands up in the air, claiming for an offside. Well, don't wait for the offside. Go for the ball. Try and block the ball before it gets into the net.
Not dissimilar to the second Borough goal, the Whittaker goal on Friday night, wasn't it? Kate comes in.
Everyone's standing there. The keeper's done his bit and made a good save, and everyone's just standing there. No one's reacting, and there needs to be more reaction in especially in our box. You can argue the fact if it's in their box, no one reacted, but in our box, it's vital you react. That's more important than anything else. And the first goal was just horrid, and I do think it was such an awful goal to concede that really damaged us. And I think the confidence from the whole team seemed to just go for 5 minutes. And by that time, we were 2-0 down. And I just think that first goal was so crucial because we were knocking on the door all first half. And we had some very close attempts. Like you said, we hit the bar. There was that free kick from Nunes. There was some good chances that we didn't put away. And it's as if we come out thinking, well, we'll carry on, do it same as usual. McKenna's probably told them to do the same as usual. Yeah. And then someone just makes a mistake, And yeah, we can all turn around and say, well, mistakes happen. But sometimes games turn on mistakes. And we need to start being a little bit more realistic in defence and saying, look, instead of trying to pass the ball out or head the ball out to one of our players, just pass it out of touch. Just get the ball anywhere away from our goal rather than just take a risk. Because he took a risk and it didn't pay off. I don't know whether he knew there was no midfielder there or he assumed there was a midfielder there. But after that header, it was just going straight to their player because none of our players were there. If you can't find your man, get it out of touch.
Yeah, said this before. Rose edit. Don't see that enough, do we? All right, Steve. We're going to call it a day there. We're going to be back tomorrow. Me and Gov will be back tomorrow to go through all this again. We've already done 31 minutes. Tough times now if you're a Town fan. Tough times for McKenna. Fair play to Charlton, League One side last season. Come up by the playoffs.
What I do say, and yeah, people, we won't be thinking this now because we never do. Yeah, no one thinks this when they've just been beat. I don't think I can sit here now and make a strong argument for not being the case. But if you play that again, you will win it more times than you lose it. Because I think it was turned on mistakes and us being incompetent in attack. And that doesn't happen every game. My argument is, if you're making the chances, you're doing some at rate. If we're losing 3-0 and only getting 5 chances, we've got a problem. But if we're losing 3-0, yeah, and we're getting 30 chances, yeah, that problem's a little bit easier to fix.
All right, everybody. If you want to relive all this again with me and Gov, come and join us tomorrow. We can all commiserate together. I think we'll be on 7:38, something like that. Check out on YouTube for the notification. All right, chin up, everyone. Let's go make a cup of tea. We'll have something a little bit stronger.
You've reached the end. Thank you so much for watching. Hit here to subscribe. It's totally free. And hit here for more Talking Town videos. I'll see you on the next one.